Welcome back to Making Speed. No Alexander, Charles Cruz, and today we have Curtis Francois, the president of World Wide Technology Raceway, formerly known as Gateway. To all the St. Louis people listening, right. And it was a mouthful, but the good thing is it says it on a shirt, and I wrote it down.
You do know his name though, at least that's good.
Yes, Someone was in here a couple weeks ago, and I almost blanked on their name, although I knew them very well.
We do this at the end of the day, so by the time this comes up, we've already had a full day of craziness.
Yeah, we're low on coffee and high on stress, and then we're gonna do this. But it usually works out pretty good, so go home and pass right out. So anyway, I think I've been going to Gateway for forever. Yeah. I think the most fun I've ever had over there. I used to do a lot of Porsche drive days and Porsche club days and BMW days, and I'd bring my car over there and race on the track. And the first time I did that, I was like, "This is the most amazing! I can't believe they let you do this." But and then there's obviously the full on amazing professional events where you get to watch people who actually really know what they're doing. Just don't think they know what they're doing.
I think most of our time's been spent on that go-kart track, though.
Yeah, we have spent a lot of time. So and then and before we get over to Curtis, we had the luxury of going over to at the time Gateway and filming a lot of our show over there, which was incredible because we wanted to be able to kind of show people like the cars actually ran and drove and performed. So we're like, well, what better place to do that than at this track that's right here, this gorgeous track. So
not to mention like the views when they pull out with the drone and they got the arch in the background. I mean, it was like everything was perfect. It was great.
Yep. So we're all fresh off our trip to Scottsdale. So I made Curtis stop because I was like, hold on, it sounds like you're going to say
some good stories out of Scottsdale.
But it's what a good event because I think that Barrett always has the best collection of people and all the best cars. So when did you started to talk, but when you went out there when everybody else did, obviously?
Yeah, so we're just right off of that trip, which was week before last, I believe. Barrett's a great experience. For those that haven't ever been out there, you guys have been out there a lot, but man, if you love cars, that's the Mecca. It just is. And there's the Nomad that you all sent out there that was just fabulous and sets the bar for where it can go.
Right.
And then it's the 1976 Monte Carlo that we bought that sets the bar for the other way that you can go from a Monday purchase at Barrett Jackson.
Right.
So it was a big time out there. It was a lot of fun.
So what are the plans for that Monte Carlo?
Well, there's a story that kind of goes behind that, the purchase of that. It's not that I just particularly love 1976 Monte Carlos, but Chris Blair, the general manager at the racetrack, turned 50, and Chris is, not only an integral part of our operation there, he's just a great friend of mine. And so thinking what we could do for him for a memorable event for a 50th. I'm here's something I would like to do. So no one did this for me for my 50th. So I did it for him. So we went out to Barrett, and the mantra was we had to buy a car on Monday.
Okay.
And whatever was there, we were going to buy something. And as
the Monday challenge, I kind of like
yeah.
That might be a whole show in and of itself.
Yeah.
And we looked at all kinds of things, and it kind of came down to was the Monte Carlo was in the lead, but there was a '66 Lincoln hardtop 4-door that I just didn't think was actually going to be able to get through the Power Tour.
Right.
So I figured at least mid-'70s I got electronic ignition and a better shot of finishing.
Yeah. My rule of thumb is if you don't think you can get up across the block, it may not be a reliable driver on the Power Tour.
True.
I think that's right on the money. Because
some stuff you have, you're like, I don't know, this thing's not doing so good. Maybe.
Yeah. Well, when they had to push the Lincoln across the block, I knew we were in pretty good shape. That at least the Monte Carlo stood on its own and was able to get across. But it was fun. We just spent a full day looking and came up with a car that we thought would last, and then realized that this is not really Power Tour worthy yet, so it's going to need a build and a motor. And
there you go.
Noah and I almost went down the same rabbit hole. Actually, we were looking at the family truckster.
Yeah, we wanted the family truckster from vacation. I still really want it because I
still would have gone in half with you on that deal and bought it just to drive. We would have gone on the power tour with you, driving our family truck.
And Edna was on the top. They didn't have the dog leash off the back because I felt they probably had to draw a line somewhere. But there's like the really cool cars of the world, and there's the really fun cars of the world. We'll put the really cool cars in the world, maybe like a new McLaren 720S. The really fun cars of the world is the family truckster. If you think you hate it now, just wait till you drive. Yeah, twice the headlights, half the EPA mileage. All the grades. But I don't. So the last one. Now I looked up the company that made this thing. The last company, the company that makes these like movie replica cars, and they do a good job. They're in Florida. They sold one at West Palm Beach for $90, same car, and this one went through for 20. We were like watching it, but
bargain basement
28
price
grand. It could so many things could have been done. So I don't know. You got your Monte Carlo, and we came out of there with.
So are you guys going to do the whole power tour, or are you just going to pick it up from St. Louis and go to
we're going to start in Indy.
Okay.
And then we'll go until we literally and figuratively run out of gas ourselves and the car. So we'll see what happens with that. But
it's beginning of is it the 10th?
It's
kind of like something like maybe
it's mid-June, I think.
Yeah, it's that week of the 10th, 11th, 12th of June. And it's coming back through World Wide
Yes,
Technology
there is a
Raceway.
stop there,
Yeah.
which I was going to mention.
It was a no-brainer for us. If we have to, we can bail. But
so you got your events during the day on Wednesday, I believe, and then we're going to try to set up something here to do a nighttime event where people can come in and tour the shop and visit our distillery over here that we have now.
Yeah.
And have a little car show right here.
It's
so
a
you'll
perfect
have to bring the
night
Monte Carlo over. We'll have a reserved parking spot for you.
All right.
Monte Carlo only park. We're going to get a really sweet Monte Carlo only parking off eBay.
Yes.
And we're going to put it on the side of the building for you guys.
There you go. It's a winner.
So when I first started going to Gateway, for the driving events, I think that was somewhere around 2000, maybe 5-ish, 4-ish, somewhere in there. And then it disappeared. It was gone. It went, the whole thing kind of went up, and it was, was it gone for a couple of years? I mean, it didn't disappear, but
what year did you take that over?
So Dover closed it in the fall of 10.
Okay.
And I actually got involved in 11 and reopened it in 2012.
Okay.
So, I start looking at it, and I really got involved in 2010. So it's almost a decade here.
It's crazy.
That I've been working on that, and it's been quite a journey.
Well, you've done one hell of a job. The place looks awesome. You got it full of events. I mean, pretty much every weekend, right?
No doubt.
Throughout the spring and summer.
Once we get started here again, April, it's just vibrant all through the year, and that was a difference. I'm a car guy and enthusiast, and I'm not limited to oval or drag strip or to road course. I love it all.
Yeah.
And so, every part of the track is of interest to me, not only from a business standpoint, but personally, I like it all.
Right.
And so we keep it busy. And, this year we've got some cool stuff coming that'll be new. We always kind of have our regular things that we do that you guys would know about. Our Midnight Madness has always been a fixture out there.
Absolutely.
And a lot of the sports car events that come and go, and the Porsche Club. But there's going to be some other great bigger events going on, and we just try to keep it moving.
So you guys have obviously NHRA, Indy, NASCAR.
Yes.
I mean, those are huge events.
Those are huge events. And then, we layer in Formula Drift.
Right?
And,
I went to that last
Drift.
year.
Yeah, I thought that was a great event. There's a lot of energy there. It's a different demographic for us. We added another almost half a mile to the road course, which this year a lot of the guys that are coming out and doing track days are going to get to experience a new configuration, which will be fun.
I need to get over there. So where did you add the I think I know it in the, I know it like very, very well in my head. So where's the new section on the...
So the new section is between turn 1 and turn 2.
Okay.
Instead of continuing on the left, and up the short chute, you'll make a right, and you go back through the wall and inside of the turn 1, turn 2 track, and then out onto the turn 1, turn 2 of the oval, and then you're going to cut back into the road course again there at the short chute.
Okay.
Which makes for some great acceleration out onto turn 1, turn 2 in the oval, in the banking.
Yeah.
Right.
And then a hard braking and a left back onto the short chute, and you come in right about turn 3.
Wow,
Nice.
That sounds cool.
And then you guys, I know, repaved or redid the whole outside of the track as well for Indy.
For Indy, yes. In anticipation of Indy in 2017, we decided to go ahead and repave that racetrack.
Right.
It would have held up, but it was our first impression
Sure.
that we were making with the IndyCar sanctioning body, but the fans, and just did not want to have any chance of things not going great. And in hindsight, I could not have made a better decision because it really ingrained us into the culture of Indy right away that a racetrack would say, we want your race so much at this racetrack, we're going to repave the racetrack for you to make it perfect.
Absolutely.
And so as that relationship has developed, that comes up over and over that we kind of stepped up to do that. And it certainly doesn't help with now that didn't hurt that now that Roger Penske owns IndyCar, we were the racetrack that repaved so that the series could come. So do the right things, and it usually comes back around for you.
Yeah, I think I've read out there somewhere that the IndyCar, organization basically said that your track is one of their favorite tracks to go to now. Like it's rated one of the top 2 or top 3 tracks, which is really, that's a huge accomplishment.
Who'd ever thought,
Yeah.
But again, we're enthusiasts. We have to operate a business, but we also are enthusiasts. And so I looked at what I would have wanted.
Right.
And coming in, knowing that you have a brand new racetrack, and then just also taking care of the drivers. The IndyCar drivers, as a driver myself for a long time, a lot of times we weren't shown a tremendous amount of love when we came to racetracks.
Right.
And so we turned that idea upside down, and we do our own version of the Oscars swag bag.
Uh-huh.
So when the drivers come, they walk away with something or another that's kind of all things St. Louis.
Right.
And, it's an expectation that I put on myself, and now every year I got to come up with new ideas, but it's fun. We really are enjoying it.
Maybe we can get something for that swag bag for them.
There you go.
Yeah, that'd be great. They'd love it.
We've got stuff to throw in there.
Yeah.
So what is your experience? So, I know you have a lot of driving experience. Where did that start for you? How far does that go back?
So my experience started right there at Gateway.
Yeah.
So I started in, the SCCA amateur ranks just back in the late 80s. I can't believe it's been that long ago. Driving a purpose-built sports car. I was driving a Sports 2000 back then, and then raced Formula Continental and some Atlantic, and then sports car things. And pretty much by now, I've been in about every kind of car you can race.
Sure.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Yeah. Once you get that bug, it's probably hard you got to follow through and keep going, right?
absolutely, kind of all in, and I had really a great opportunity to race with a lot of great guys and friends, and did some racing at the Rolex 24 Hours of Daytona, which just happened last weekend.
Yeah.
So all of that uniquely prepared me for what I never saw in my future, which was owning a racetrack.
Well, I think it's important to have that type of experience, and especially as a business owner, because you see so many businesses out there that people get involved in where they don't really know anything about the business whatsoever. Maybe it's interesting. Maybe they saw an opportunity to make a lot of money, but quite often it leads to a scenario where people, they're not really in tune with what's going on. They don't know the people. I think you got to know the people in order to make it successful, because if you don't know the people, how do you know what they want? How can you cater to them? How do you know what events to get? And I think there can be such a long learning curve there that, ultimately those businesses fail. But, you guys, in my experience with you, and as you stated, it's, you're into it, it's in your blood now. So
yeah, no doubt about it. And, it really is kind of translated into this grassroots movement of support for us. I mean, if you travel around and see other racetracks, they're not all like ours from a culture standpoint, where we have people that are, I call it, pulling the rope together with us, and there's people helping you that you just don't even know because they're a believer in this mission.
Right.
And after 8-9 years of on banging on this rock, so to speak, it's finally starting to break, and things are growing from a momentum standpoint, not just because of the effort that we're putting in on a regular basis. People are out there helping us, and it's put us in a great position as we continue to grow.
Yeah, well, I think that track is kind of like a regional home for a lot of different people. There's not where's the next closest place you can go to. It's far, far away. So, yeah, I think it's an important thing for this region. I know. What do you guys have planned? I know behind the track, you guys are working on clearing out more space back there. Or are there big plans back there? Or
well, I think, as I started with 170 acres,
Right.
and with the purchase now, we just purchased the golf course to the north, so now we're at 600 acres, and
Wow.
we're pretty much have set the table for my generation and the next generation to have a place to go play with our cars. Yeah. Whether you're racing at a high level or whether you're participating at an amateur level, that work is done, and that was a huge piece that was holding back really the development of that racetrack to get even more events. So something that we had to do was kind of change and modify the ingress egress so that people had an easy way in and out of the racetrack. That's
Right.
something we started right off the bat, and now has culminated that we have over 15,000 parking spaces. We can host the largest of any kind of racing event in the United States. We're on the map to continue to grow, and the infrastructure is there to do it. So we'll continue to add things as we need to, depending on what events are coming.
Yeah, parking is an interesting point because there's so many places you go to where, well, I'll start with, even at the, at like the NHRA event or, on busiest time, you can park right on the property. And that's not always the case with events.
A lot of times the shuttle ride you have to do.
Shuttle ride, but you guys have enough space there where, you can, from your parking spot, you can see the track. It's right there. You might have to walk a little ways, but that's fine because there's a lot of other people coming as well. But yeah, it is really easy to get in and out of there. And from us, from here, it's only like, I don't know, 15 in traffic.
Stops,
it's 20 minutes, if it, it slows down right at the bridge there, sometimes going over in Illinois. But it's an important thing because even at Indy, you got to go, park in some guy's front yard or whatever. That's
common practice at a
Circuit
lot
of the Americas.
tracks.
You got to, that's place is kind of hard to, might probably take a shuttle, but you guys have all that space, so that's cool. I didn't even know there was a golf course over there.
I didn't either.
Gateway National is actually the number 1 or 2 public course in our region, is right our direct neighbor to the north. So just a great opportunity to make sure that as we're looking into the future that we've got a neighbor that is friendly, and that's going to be ourselves. So we're
right.
Yeah.
Any kind of newer or different type of racing events you guys are kind of looking to get in the next, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? Anything you'd like to lure in our way?
We're always looking for the next thing out there. Clearly, there's a lot of talk around with another NASCAR race coming our direction. What I do is the best I can do to operate a good, vibrant track that is attractive to all the sanctioning bodies. So, I think that we are a track that's on the move, and if you look nationally, our story is really ranking up there as one of the great success stories in racetracks in the last decade. We kind of came from a track that was on the downside, closed, to one of the most vibrant, innovative tracks in the country. So that bodes well for the future of the racetrack, and I think it makes us attractive to sanctioning bodies to come do business here in St. Louis. Several of the sanctioning bodies have looked at what's the future of racing look like, and they want to be closer to major metropolitan areas versus a far drive outside.
Right.
If you look at that, you look at just how vibrant St. Louis is these days. If you look over the last 18 months to 2 years, starting kind of with the PGA to where we landed right now, look at all the major sporting events that have been happening, and St. Louis continues to shine on the national front as just a tremendous sports town. And if you look at our IndyCar race, with over 40,000 people in the stands in an oval race for an IndyCar, that's second only to Indianapolis.
Right.
So there's tremendous vibrancy in our car market and fans for racing here in St. Louis.
Yeah, it's funny. The Rams left, and the city kind of felt that pain a little bit, but then we bounced right back. Obviously with the events that you brought, to the city, we've got the new aquarium, the new soccer stadium that's going to be built. And
that stuff's huge. Yeah. The hockey team's amazing.
Even
Baseball,
the Ferris wheel. That Ferris wheel is really cool to drive by and see that. So,
to have the location of it's particularly remarkable because, it's it's so close to downtown St. Louis, yet it's not really like infringing upon, it's not like it's next to a bunch of houses or something either.
Right.
It's kind of like has a nice level of isolation around it where it's not going to bother anybody in the,
But also for families that are coming to watch a race,
Yeah.
they could come and stay for a few days, see the race, go explore St. Louis.
There's 20 really nice hotels right across, right there that they could stay at. So,
and I think that is becoming more and more obvious that there is so much to offer with that racetrack for families that get to take advantage of a Cardinals game, and maybe they go to my IndyCar race.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that is something that happens on a regular basis.
Well, and you guys have a lot of stuff going on during the Indy race too. You have there are a couple parties that you guys do, right?
Right. So we've always had our Speed Fest week kind of leading up to that, and there's all kinds of things that go on. Last year we had a STEM demonstration where the kids were building go-karts. We were teaching them how to build go-karts, and then it culminated with them racing on IndyCar Day. It's just one of the things that we do, golf tournaments and different things that are going on. So, take a little bit out of what goes on in Indy to make a full week out of that. Now, there's, 100-year history with Indy. So
Sure.
we got 10 in roughly. So,
Right.
but it'll continue to grow,
will.
and there's a lot of vibrancy around that event.
Yeah. And Bomarito has been a big partner with you on that, correct?
No doubt about it. I mean, John is just been – he's just way more than a sponsor. He leans in because of pride in the city to do everything he can to leverage his brand and his strength in the marketplace to bring folks to that race. So it's the perfect kind of 1-2 punch. When we do our thing and he does his, well, the result is 40-some-odd thousand people in the stands watching IndyCar.
Well, and my neighbor is Brian Snyder. He works for Bomarito. Well, he's in charge of all their finance. But he pulls up next door to me, and he's got a Suburban or whatever, and it's all wrapped with all the Indy race on the side of it. All the advertisement for it. So I was really thinking, I'm like, Bomarito is totally behind this. I mean, he's got vehicles wrapped with it, and he's advertising all over the city for months. About the race. So that was really cool to see that, just driving around through St. Charles County.
Yeah. Well, he's without a doubt got the bug, too.
Yeah.
We had a little something to do with that. And, he's just all in. He was just at the 24 Hours of Daytona, and that is an enthusiast place to go watch a race. You're not going there and, being a part of a 70 or 80,000 people watching a race. That is an enthusiast race to watch. And so, it's you guys know, you've been in it long enough. It's addictive. I mean, the car culture is fun. A lot of great people. You throw in the racing excitement. It's just a great hobby, a great sport.
Yeah, we certainly enjoy it. So, and there's so many different options out there. So yeah, if you're really a car guy or gal, you're never gonna something might burn you out a little bit, but there's endless stuff out there, and then obviously the nicest people throughout the hobby and industry that are just kind of waiting around to help somebody out because people did that for them, along the way. So
yeah, no doubt.
Now, do you have any classic cars yourself?
I do have a few. I'd have a whole lot if I had more time to deal with it, but I actually just bought this past year something that I've been looking for a long time, and I know you guys have built a couple of these, but a 63 Chevrolet short bed, big window, V8 3 on the tree.
Sweet.
Truck that was an official truck at Indy back in 1963.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
So that's going to make it on the Hot Rod Power Tour.
Good.
As well as the Monte Carlo. Chris
He's got to carry spare parts and tools for the Monte Carlo, maybe?
That's exactly right. We won't be doing any donuts with that one, but the Monte Carlo, I'm fairly certain, is going to see its share of tire smoke.
There you go. We love trucks, so
we do.
Done a lot of cool builds in the last few years with them. But we're gonna get Tiffany back out this year on the Power Tour. So maybe we've
got a crazy idea to go along with Tiffany going on the Power Tour. We're thinking about taking a barrel of rum, some of the rum that we have, and running it down the Power Tour, and then when we get back, we'll bottle all that and sell, bottles of rum that were basically on the Power Tour.
It'll be a Power Tour aged rum. So we'll build a stand for it in the back, and I don't know. We'll see. Yeah,
it might taste like tire smoke. We're not sure yet, but
see what the flavors of the highway are. I don't know.
That's a special aging process.
That's right.
Known only
for gearheads
Classic
only.
Car Studio.
Yeah. I think we've stumbled across them. Yeah, the smell of that burnt rubber really came through, but people seem to like it. So.
Yeah, to sound sophisticated, you'd say hints of burnt rubber.
Hints of burnt, yeah.
Haven't heard that one before, but like it.
Yeah. Well, they have the Jefferson's Ocean. They take the bourbon and they put it on the boat. You know?
Yeah, and it shakes around.
There's just not enough tire smoke for our palate.
Right.
I don't think they can make it. I don't think they can make it work the way we can. So we're looking for. I don't know. Hopefully we can do. Last time we did it in our '86 Silverado with the LT4.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
No, it was. I don't know. What a great event! Just it's the whole traveling car show concept is cool. Plus, you get this parade of endless cars driving through little towns. People come out, they line the roads. I don't know. It's kind of it feels good. So
when else can you hang out with 4,000 of like-minded people and cars? And I mean, what's there not to like?
Exactly.
It's great. We can't believe it when they showed up to the racetrack because they all arrive within about a 1 hour period, and we've got to park 4,000 cars.
Right.
And it's always just quite an undertaking to make that happen. But once you see them all in there and they're sitting there, and you start walking the lot there, wow! I mean, just a great. Just take on Americana as far as cars go. It's just everybody's got their own vision.
Yeah,
everybody's got their own vision. Is
Yep.
right. So a lot of people break down along the way, but there's always somebody there. So
unlike some car shows or car events, where there's people trailering stuff, every car there is basically driven. So that's kind of cool. We're all about driving. If you have a classic car, we think you should drive it. And that shows so true on that power tour. It's some guys, I mean, they have the long haul group, which those guys go from, start to finish every year. We had one of those guys come up to us at the car show in St. Louis last weekend, and he was like, saying that they have a Facebook page, which I wasn't even aware of that, but he's like, it's actually a big group of guys that do this every single year. So I think that's pretty cool.
Says a lot about your classic car if you can make it that far, because we find the average person probably does about 300 miles a year.
Yeah.
The intention at the time of purchase is usually, they've got a number that sounds like maybe like 5,000 miles a year or twice a week, whatever. But at the end of the day, people are busy and they might be facing reliability issues. But if you could take an old hot rod or an old original car or whatever it is and make it through, then something either you're really lucky or your car's actually dialed in pretty well.
Yeah. Or if you're on the power tour, you have a lot of helping hands.
Right.
If you have an issue,
you might need one.
You'll be okay.
Yeah. We've fixed a couple cars.
Yeah.
On the every time when they make it through St. Louis, we always help somebody out. Yeah. Somebody breaks down. They're like, oh, these guys are here. They come in. We get them fixed up real quick. Last time it was a whole family. It was like a family of 6 in an Impala.
Right.
That they had just purchased. Like, you guys are nuts. Mom, dad, 4 kids. Yeah, we just bought it so we could do the power. I was like, wow, I need to be able to talk to my wife.
Although we did the power tour with a vehicle that had 0 miles on it. Well, it might have had 1 mile on it. Basically.
Yeah, we drove off. We completed the vehicle on the lift, drove off, had an issue, drove right back on. Second time we drove off, we went around the industrial court, pulled back on. Third time off, this is all within an hour. We left and we did the power tour in our freshly built vehicle, which was interesting. Nice. I did not have confidence that we were going to make it to bowling.
Well, we were going on no sleep.
Yeah, we had not slept.
It's like 24 hours straight, but we were determined we were going.
Once we made it about 25 miles, and I stopped hearing things, that maybe we're there and maybe we weren't there. I knew we were good to go.
We're good.
So,
yep.
It was. Down to the day before, we had the wrong computer for the engine that they'd shipped us. It wouldn't run.
We were rewiring the whole engine management system the day before. It
would not start. It would start and stop immediately. It was basically shutting itself off. We had the wrong. I think we had the CTSV computer and the Corvette engine.
Yeah, it was the same plug basically, but it was penned. It had 3 pens in it versus 4. I don't know. It was just a weird deal, and luckily we were able to trace it down fast and then get it switched out. And I think Chevrolet had the harness there in stock. They brought it over to us, and we did the switch.
We got lucky. We actually stayed in a hotel that was so bad that I refused to sleep. That was my
slept
power.
in the car.
it was good because I slept.
That's how last minute we were.
I was like this. Yeah, we were last minute, so like there was nothing. This place was like the worst motel you could. It looked all right from the outside. I was like, oh, this. But we got in there. There was like weird holes in the walls. And
there was a hole in my shower. I actually put a bar of soap in the hole to kind of block. I didn't know what was in there. You know,
blood splatter. What
cameras,
else?
But.
There was crazy. So then we went to we like checked in. We slept there the first night for like 2 hours. Then got up and like went over to the event. And then the next night we went to Walmart. And our idea was like, well, if we get camping gear, we can camp inside our room. Like on top of we'll get a tent and like a sleeping bag, and it was really ridiculous. But we were all pretty much on the same page there. Anyway, so I ended up sleeping in outside. Luckily, it wasn't that. I don't know. Maybe I should just manned up and slept in the room. But.
That's the best thing about the car hobby. Though.
It was an adventure.
Every time you go somewhere to do something, there's stories.
That they
right?
always come up.
There's always stories. It's always an adventure. As much as we could have planned this whole thing out for 6 months, and we still would have had some kind of stories to tell when we got back. Yeah. That's why we don't plan anymore. We just go for it.
Just go for it. Bring a credit card.
Right? Yeah, right. We'll wing it.
We'll get out of it.
It'll be okay.
Yeah.
So, and it was okay. We have good stories. I'm glad we had to stay in that terrible hotel.
Right.
At least for one night. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, so, well, again here with Curtis Francois, president of World Wide Technology Raceway.
Got it right.
Good.
We're looking forward to coming to some events over there. 2020 season. Is it 2021 season technically? Is that how you'd say
it's 2020 season.
2020 season.
Right.
Over 330 event days already on the calendar, so it's going to be crazy busy. You know, Fast and Furious movies coming out. We're going to have a themed car show traveling from LA. That's coming for that. That'll be cool.
Noah will shave his head and be Vin Diesel for that.
There you have it. Right.
All I have to do is shave my head and work out and eat more protein.
Yeah,
to be Vin Diesel.
Just that, right?
I don't. I think I should be good, but yeah, you guys have kind of you've built it and they've all showed up and you keep getting more stuff every year. So as a St. Louis native for many years, I love.
It's
seeing
exciting to see.
Yeah, I love. You love seeing stuff you grow.
Get over there. It's super convenient for us.
The big thing is we're not done yet. You know, there's always something that and this there's always something new, and this industry continues to evolve. If something starts to slow down, maybe on a car show side, something else picks up on a drifting side, and if what I saw at Barrett Jackson was any indicator, the collector hobby is alive and well.
Sure. Yeah. We all should be buying 4x4s.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. 1970 to 72. I mean, if I
That's
saw one,
at.
I saw 100 of them.
Right.
But it was great to see that vibrancy in the market, and I think they set some records on overall volume sales. So it's a good time to be, a car collector, and I'd like to see one of those come to St. Louis sometime or another. It'd be neat to have one of the big auctions here. So I think with 600 acres, we could probably make that happen.
You can make,
I think so.
All the parking will be right there.
Yeah.
So, cool. Well, thank you so much again, Curtis, for coming on.
Good to be with you guys. Appreciate all you guys have done at the racetrack. I love tuning into the episodes and seeing all the racetrack as a part of your show at times, and that's been neat. And it's just great to be a part of the car culture with all of you all.
Cool.
Thanks for coming in. Appreciate it.
And where can people learn more? Worldwide Technology.
Yeah, so it's pretty easy. It's www.raceway.com.
Well, I like that. Maybe we can change over to WW. I can.
Yeah.
WWT is easy. So we're WWT.com again, making speed. Alexander Charles Cruz and Curtis Francois, and you can find us obviously on our website, ClassicCarStudio.com, on the Instagram, Facebook. You all know where it is. Thank you.
Thanks.